जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन रञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी यमुनतीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद जय चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय इस्कॉन विविधि फाणाचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय निताय गौप्रेमानंदे हरि ओम अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर उन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. So we're going to read from, continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, The Lord in the Heart, verse number 27. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. न यत्र शोको न जरा न मृत्यु न यत्र शोको न जरा न मृत्यु नार्तिर्न चोद्वेगरिते कुतश्चित् नार्तिर्न चोद्वेगरिते कुतश्चित् यच्चित्ततोदा कृपया निदं विदाम् यच्चित्ततोदा कृपया निदं विदाम् दुरंत दुःख प्रभवानुदर्शनात् दुरंत दुःख प्रभवानुदर्शनात् न यत्र शोको न जरा न मृत्यु नार्तिर्न चोद्वेगरिते कुतश्चित् यच्चित्ततोदा कृपया निदं विदाम् दुरंत दुःख प्रभवानुदर्शनात् न यत्र शोको न जरा न मृत्यु नार्तिर्न चोद्वेगरिते कुतश्चित् यच्चित्ततोदा कृपया निदं विदाम् दुरंत दुःख प्रभवानुदर्शनात् न यत्र शोको न जरा न मृत्यु नातिर्न चोद्वेगरिते कुतश्चित् यच्चित्ततोदा कृपया निदं विदाम् दुरंत दुःख प्रभवानुदर्शनात् Na, never, yatra, there are, shokaha, bereavement, na, nor, jara, old age, na, nor, mrityu, death, na, nor, arti, pain, na, nor, cha, also, udvegaha, anxieties, rite, save and accept, kutaschit, sometimes, yat, because of, chit, consciousness, tataha, therefore, ada, compassion, kripaya, out of heartfelt sympathy, anidam vidam, of those who are ignorant of the process of devotional service. Duranta, unsurpassable, dukkha, misery, prabhava, repeated birth and death, anudarsana, by successive experience. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In that planet of Satyaloka, there is neither bereavement, nor old age, nor death. There is no pain of any kind, and therefore there are no anxieties, save that sometimes, due to consciousness, there is a feeling of compassion for those unaware of the process of devotional service, who are subjected to unsurpassable miseries in the material world. Foolish men of materialistic temperament do not take advantage of the successive, authorized, knowledge. The Vedic knowledge is authorized and is acquired not by experiment, but by authentic statements of the Vedic literatures explained by bona fide authorities. Simply by becoming an academic scholar, one cannot understand the Vedic statements. One has to approach the real authority who has received the Vedic knowledge by disciplic succession. As clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita 4.2, Lord Krishna affirmed that the system of knowledge is explained in the Bhagavad Gita was explained to the Sun God, and the knowledge descended by disciplic succession from the Sun God and the knowledge from the Sun God to his son Manu, and from Manu to King Ikshvaku, the forefather of Lord Ramachandra. And thus the system of knowledge was explained down the line of great sages one after another. But in due course of time, the authorized succession was broken, and therefore, just to re-establish the true spirit of the knowledge, the Lord again explained the same knowledge to Arjuna, who was a bona fide candidate for understanding due to his being a pure devotee of the Lord. Bhagavad Gita, as it was understood by Arjuna, is also explained. Bhagavad Gita 10:12-13. But there are many foolish men who do not follow in the footsteps of Arjuna in understanding the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. They create instead their own interpretations, which are as foolish as they themselves, and thereby only help to put a stumbling block on the path of real understanding, misdirecting the innocent followers who are less intelligent, or the Shudras. It is said that one should become a Brahmana before one can understand the Vedic statements. And this stricture is as important as the stricture that no one shall become a lawyer who has not qualified himself as a graduate. Such a stricture is not an impediment in the path of progress for anyone and everyone, but it is necessary for an unqualified understanding of a particular science. Vedic knowledge is misinterpreted by those who are not qualified Brahmanas. A qualified Brahmana is one who has undergone strict training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The Vedic wisdom guides us to understanding our relation with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and to acting accordingly in order to achieve the desired result of returning home back to Godhead. But materialistic men do not understand this. They want to make a plan to become happy in a place where there is no happiness. For false happiness, they try to reach other planets either by Vedic rituals or by spacecraft. But they should know for certain that any amount of materialistic adjustment for becoming happy in a place which is meant for distress cannot benefit the misguided man. Because after all, the whole universe with all its paraphernalia will come to an end after a certain period. Then all plans of materialistic happiness will automatically come to an end. The intelligent person therefore makes a plan to return home back to Godhead. Such an intelligent person surpasses all the pangs of material existence like birth, death, disease and old age. He is actually happy because he has no anxieties of material existence. But as a compassionate sympathizer, he feels unhappiness for the suffering materialistic man. And thus he occasionally comes before the materialistic man to teach them the necessity of going back to Godhead. All the bona fide acharyas preach this truth of returning home back to Godhead and warn man not to make a false plan for happiness in a place where happiness is only a myth. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Tama Krishna Goswamiti Namine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasad Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So in today's verse, Parikshit Maharaj is being told by Sukadeva Goswami, in that planet he is describing the Lord in the heart. And once again, just for recap, the chapter before, we are actually, Sukadeva Goswami is describing the three levels of devotees, or basically three levels of spiritualists. So the chapter earlier was basically describing the Virat Rupa, how one can start to recognize the Supreme Personality of God, or Supreme Power, Supreme Energy, or something Almighty by the Virat Rupa. So you start seeing Krishna, you see, oh, how is this amazing. Just like I get reminded of the story of the cobbler. When Narad came and said to him that, in Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu was trying to pass an elephant through the eye of the needle. And he became ecstatic, and Naraji said, how come, why? And he said, if Krishna can, put this whole banyan tree into the seed, then, Krishna can do anything. So, just recognizing the banyan tree, you can say, okay, how amazing, look at the seed, how amazing, look at the rivers and the mountain, how amazing. So that's step one in God realization. At least you know that there is some superpower, or, almighty power, or, something great beyond us. So then this chapter is talking about the Lord in the heart. So that's the second stage of realization in Krishna consciousness, which is the Paramatma in the heart. So the yogi, they take the process of meditation, and then how when they depart from the Brahmarandra, from when they leave this body, then they go through the path. What's the path called? What is that path called? The other day, Jiva Prabhu spoke on that. The Milky Way. The Milky Way. So, by that path you go, and then you pass through all the various planets. So, today is talking about in the Satya Loka. The Jana Lok, Tapa Lok, they are all being described. The Milky Way, by illuminating Shushumna, you reach the highest planet of Brahma Loka. Goes first to Visvanath planet, the deity of fire, wherein becomes completely cleansed of all contamination. That's the process you go through. So, even while going back home, back to Godhead, you have to go through these planets to get the final polishing of all the, removal of all the contamination. So, that's what was being described in the earlier verses. So, today's verse is saying, in the Satya Loka, there is no bereavement, there is no old age, and there is no death. And there is no pain of any kind, and therefore there is no anxiety. So what is the cause of anxiety? Is the pain. Why do you feel pain? Because of birth, death, old age and disease. So, save and accept. The yogi may sometimes, due to his consciousness of feeling compassion for those who are unaware of the process of devotional service. So this is very nicely describing a Vaishnava. Who is a Vaishnava? He is para dukha dukhi. He sees others' miseries and becomes... but there is a very... you can say there is a very technical point here also. Just like, we see someone hungry, we see someone, unsheltered, so you feel compassion. So you feel... But that compassion is still going to be material compassion, because you are trying to only fix the problem of the body. Problem of the material conditioning. But here, the devotee becomes unhappy or sad or sympathizes with another person, or the ones who are suffering. Why? Not because they are suffering simply birth, death, old age and disease. Because of lack of the knowledge of the process of devotional service. Because process of devotional service is the only liberating process that can deliver one from the cycle of birth and death. Deliver you from the pain. Prabhupada gives very nice example. a little child is lost in a festival. So, and he's crying. So one of the ways to quieten him is to buy him ice cream. So until the time he's licking the ice cream, he will not cry, he'll forget about his pain. But once the ice cream is over, he's going to cry again. So in the material world, if you just simply provide, food, clothing, shelter, these are the means to solve problem. Then as soon as, the clothes is old and torn, you start crying, you aspire for another new set of clothing, shelter, food, everything. Material solutions to material problems is only going to create further problems. So the ultimate solution is the process of devotional service. And again, Sukadeva Goswami is also making a point. He is compassionate for those who are unaware of devotional service, and because of their ignorance of devotional process, who are subjected to unsurpassable miseries in the material world. So there is no way you can surpass the misery of the material world, birth, death, old age and disease. You can't surpass it. The devotee also goes through these processes. But the only benefit of devotional service that comes through to a devotee is he can transcend this. Whereas the common man will remain in the cycle of karma reaction, the laws of material nature, and therefore keep going through the cycle. So, as part of the purport, I think some of the very important aspects that Srila Prabhupada points out, and it relates very nicely to addressing the issue of lack of devotional service. So first thing Prabhupada says is, the Vedic knowledge is authorized. So you learn Vedic knowledge through authorized literatures, authorized process and authorized persons. So one place, one verse from Bhagavad Gita which describes all the three things together. Just in one verse Krishna speaks all these three things. Authorized process, authorized persons, authorized knowledge. Evam parampara praptam. Yeah, that's evam parampara praptam. I was thinking of tadvidihi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshana. So jnaninas tattva darshana means, he has evam parampara praptam. So the bona fide spiritual master, he has followed the disciplic succession. And then he can enlighten us. Right? And what is the authorized process? So tattva darshana is authorized person. The person is authorized. Tattva, authorized scriptures, and the process is paripaten, pariprashnen and sevaya. That's the way to get enlightened in Krishna consciousness. If you don't follow this way, and then again, the other point that comes to my mind is, Srila Prabhupada writes in this, it just so happens, yesterday I gave a class in Sori and then I just mentioned about a little bit. And I guess, everyone is fully aware how this, re-emergence of, Prabhupada is the last guru and no disciplic succession thereafter, and all these things is happening again. Once again, Maya has played her trick and, getting devotees bewildered and baffled. And, whole of yesterday I was sort of thinking about this, how Krishna, I was just praying for my own self. Krishna, keep me protected and safe from, getting into this contamination. And here again, Prabhupada speaks today. That Prabhupada is again talking about the system of knowledge as explained in Bhagavad Gita, is explained to Sun God. Knowledge is disciplic succession from Sun God to Manu to Ikshvaku. And because it has disappeared, then it has again to be spoken to Arjun so that it continues. So in essence, the disciplic succession is the authorized means of receiving this knowledge. So if Prabhupada is saying, this is the authorized means of receiving transcendental knowledge, then how could Srila Prabhupada go against his own words and then say, I am last and there is no one after me? It's very simple, logical. And just yesterday, I was having a conversation with a devotee, not on this subject matter, but how the devotee, gets constrained or, does not, has read Prabhupada's books, but feels, okay, every other person should be like what is in the book. And therefore probably doesn't find that kind of reciprocation from the devotees. So that is expected. Exactly what is being said here. In this world of miseries, you are looking for happiness. So you have to understand that every devotee is making an effort into Krishna consciousness to purify themselves. And therefore they may not be perfect. Some may be, some may not be. Most of them may not be perfect because we are in the process. We are still going through material desires, we still go through Kam, Krodh, Mad, Moh, Lobh, Mad, Matsarya, we still go through, our mind is absolutely not purified at the moment. Our mind is still contaminated. We are very much still in the dualities. So then one devotee asked me that it is said in the scriptures that we should be associating with like-minded devotees. So then this like-mindedness is at different levels. For a very neophyte devotee, what you need at the moment is like-mindedness of someone in the same service interest. But what is the like-mindedness at the highest level? We are all here to love Krishna. But in that loving of Krishna, there is a whole variety. There is deity worship, there is preaching, there is chanting, there is prasadam, there is, sweeping the temple. From the bigger perspective, this is all like-mindedness. Everyone is engaged into serving Krishna. Everyone is engaged into loving Krishna. So I said to that person that your like-mindedness is dependent on which level you are. Because that's the level of like-mindedness you will understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he opened the storehouse of Krishna Prem. So what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's like-mindedness of Krishna Prem? Of like-mindedness of people. Everyone loves Krishna. Look at Prabhupada's expression of like-mindedness of the purpose. Prabhupada said, bring everyone closer to Krishna. Prabhupada didn't say, everyone has to be pure devotee, then only in the temple, otherwise you don't have a place here. Somebody is very new. They don't know about Krishna at all. I sometimes, every time I see Rairam Prabhu, I remember the first time I saw him, I think probably he met Rukmani Mohan Prabhu at university or somewhere, then he was brought to the temple. So the first time I saw him, he came and he had, what's your son's name? He was holding his son's hands. So he came here, Prabhupada, and then offered the deity. The first glimpse of him was, he was just whoever was giving the class, then after that he was just going from this way, that way. And I still remember that picture in my mind, that was probably his first day here at the temple. And we could have just thought, okay, just a Sunday feast guy, everyone who comes here for the first time. But, after not so long, then you make so much progress in Krishna consciousness. So had Prabhupada not had that like-minded Sunday feast, everyone is coming here, the purpose is to come closer to Krishna. So, somebody takes shorter time to come and go into the front of the line. Some people will crush the line and go ahead, just like you go somewhere, there's a line, so you want to crush someone. And some people are very nice, you are right at the end of the line, and then you keep requesting the one in front of you, please, I'm troubled, I'm old, I'm this, I'm that, you go out. I'm hungry. That's the best example. The prasadam line is the most difficult one. Or somebody can say, I've just come from, night shift, can I just go ahead? Or I'm just off to going on call, I just have to go early. So, the point is that we are all like-minded here. What is the like-mindedness? We want to understand Krishna. We want to love Krishna. But of course that does not mean, just like there's a palace, in the palace there are multiple rooms. So everyone has different rooms, different spaces. So there are varieties of services we can all engage in. So, coming back to the point, the disciplic succession continues. The disciplic succession continues. Very simple. And when the knowledge is lost, then it has to be re-established. That is why we need to repeatedly read Prabhupada's books or repeatedly hear the matters of some transcendental subject matters, because in our minds, forget about the disciplic succession. Forget about the disciplic succession. In our own minds, we have heard so many times about Krishna consciousness or the path of spirituality, but we tend to forget again. Apply the same principle at your level. There's a macro level, a high level, and then micro level. The smaller level, it also applies the same. We get this knowledge lost within our own minds. Therefore, there's a process of repeated hearing from authorized persons, authorized scriptures, and by authorized process. Authorized process we hear from the way Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavatam described. What is the authorized process of hearing? Nashta prayashu badreshu nityam bhagavatasya. We have to do it regularly. Of course, regularly is not like a medical checkup. You come once in 3 months for a medical checkup. You say, are you going for your regular checkup? No. In spiritual life, in conditioned state of life, regular checkup is, Bhagavatam has given the regular checkup. Nityam Bhagavata Seva. Every day we must. Sometimes we do understand. Sometimes we may not have the facility to probably come and sit in the temple class every day. So Krishna is very kind and devotees are intelligent. So you use social media platform to reach out. Make a point to hear. Make a point to hear. Make a point to study Prabhupada's books every day. This is in these trying times. I'm just thinking, in these trying times, the only shelter and hope is Prabhupada's books. And Prabhupada said, I live in my books for the next. Even though I may physically go, I live through my books. So here's Prabhupada speaking to us. Prabhupada says, disciplic succession continues. Then the next paragraph, Prabhupada is saying that sometimes what happens, people create. They create their own interpretation which are as foolish as they themselves. Sometimes we create our own interpretation, Prabhupada says that is as foolish as they themselves. And then, important point, Prabhupada said, and thereby they only help to put a stumbling block on the path of real understanding. Let us not be more intelligent than Srila Prabhupada. Let us not be more intelligent than our spiritual master. Here is the universal guide, Prabhupada's books. And let us not make interpretations and create stumbling blocks in our own process. That's why the other day I was saying to the devotees, as much as, I may be concerned about all the living entities, maybe I'm not on that platform to be concerned about everyone. I think my first major concern is, keeping myself disciplined in Krishna consciousness, surrendered to my spiritual master and to Krishna, and be able to follow Krishna's guidance. I think if I take care of myself properly, everyone will be taken care of. Right? Everyone else is taken care of by the compassion. Here we are seeing, due to the compassion for those unaware of the process. So Vaishnava is concerned about others, ignorance of Krishna consciousness. But if I don't take care of my own Krishna consciousness, what difference, what value can I add to others' life? If I'm not chanting 16 rounds myself and I'm telling everyone chant 16 rounds, chant 16 rounds, chant, how does it happen? If I am a slow skid, I chant my 16 rounds, pay every 24 hours, but it's like I chant 10 today, then chant, then I keep balancing it, pushing 16 to every day. Say, what will happen? All those who will be, I'm trying to enlighten, they will also come in the same mode. So now let us first fix my 16 rounds within the 24 hours, fix my reading, fix my, then that way itself, Krishna's empowerment will just flow through. Krishna's empowerment, you just have to be Kopavaya so that the electricity can flow. If you are not Kopavaya yourself, then how can the electricity flow through? So that's the idea. If every devotee focused on their own Krishna consciousness, the whole community will become Krishna conscious, the whole world can become Krishna conscious. The problem of the conditioned soul is we are trying to fix others and not fix our own self. We just need to fix our own selves. And then everything gets fixed up. So Prabhupada said, we are just going to put our own stumbling blocks. So then again Prabhupada talks about being a Brahmana first. So Brahmana, the main concept is Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. So we need to study the scriptures and understand Krishna. And Prabhupada gives this verse, Prabhupada quoted this verse, Srimad Bhagavad Gita 10:12 to 13. What is 10, 12 to 13? Yes, Arjuna is describing himself. What is Krishna? Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devamajam Vibhum. This is the quality of Krishna. There's nothing else you have to concoct about Krishna or want to explain something different about Krishna. That God is this, God is that. Arjuna has already said Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavam. He is the Supreme. And then again Arjuna is also further qualifying his statement by saying Devala Asito, that the great personalities have testified to this, they are evidence to this, they know it, they have seen it. Very simple, the process of disciplic succession. So then again it says, then Prabhupada is basically saying, the last paragraph, Prabhupada is saying, the Vedic wisdom guides us to understanding our relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna and to acting accordingly in order to achieve the desired result of returning back home, back to Godhead. I think basically we already covered this subject. If only we took care of ourselves, we must know the Vedic wisdom. The whole Vedic knowledge is not simply that we want to take this knowledge and spread it to everyone else. The Vedic knowledge is, the wisdom is about applying it, guides us to understanding our relationship with the Supreme. But then if we understand that, then we understand this place is a place of misery, anxiety and everything. But the common man, the materialistic man is trying to make plans for happiness in this place. So we should understand very nicely. All bona fide acharyas preach this truth of returning home, back to Godhead, and warn man not to make a false plan for happiness in a place where happiness is only a myth. So this is the authorized persons or authorities on Vedic wisdom. They are all saying, we go back home, back to Godhead. So every day we should meditate on how am I progressed, how am I making advancement to going back home, back to Godhead. When you take care of yourself, you automatically start. When you become happy that I have got a nice plan for success, then you want to share that plan to, just like you go on the social media, everyone is selling the diet plan, They say, this is what you put your age, all these things, then it comes at the end, now prayer, praise, put a credit card. This is how materialism works. Spirituality is the other way. We've benefited and we want to give it away to others as well. This is of no cost. So thank you very much. Anybody has any comments, further comments to make? Yes, of course. Yeah, Prabhupada says, this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu is saying that we create practice and then we preach. Achar means we have it in character. In the other chapter in Bhagavatam, we also said devotional service means a change in the heart, and devotional service means character. So it should appear in our. Look at Prabhupada. It was Prabhupada as a living. Actually, it is said the Vaishnava is a living Bhagavata. Means everything that's in the Bhagavatam is living there. So that's the very good thing. And that's why I think again I'd just like to summarize. We all need to give focus very carefully, attentively to our own Krishna consciousness, and it will automatically give light to others. That's the best way to do it. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.